I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey howl, and only had 3 legs. It was a wonky donkey, wonky donkey, wonky donkey, yeah. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey howl, only had 3 legs and 1 eye. It was a winky wonky donkey, winky wonky donkey, winky wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey howl, only had 3 legs and 1 eye, and he liked to listen to country music. He was a honky tonky winky wonky donkey, honky tonky winky wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey howl, only had 3 legs and 1 eye, like this country music. He was quite tall and slim. He was a lanky honky tonky winky.
I found something pretty cool on the way back from an evening hunt. Some giant frog sacks. Would you like to see some giant frog sacks? I'll bet you would. It's a bunch of native frogs, whistling tree frogs. Apparently the Department of Conservation say they're not native because there's no fossil evidence, but they're right up the top of the headwaters of the Paringa, the Wanganui, the Perth, the Wataroa, so they've got to be native. Anyway, I found a bunch of them. They're pretty cool. They've got these weird cocoons that the tadpoles are living in, so I'll show you. There is signs of flooding up this high. It could be once a year flood, midsummer, but they're pretty borderline where they've got their egg sacs, frog egg sacs. Never thought I'd see some frog sacs ever. Big sacs too, big frog sacs.
Tadpoles!
What do you reckon, boys? Should we go make a bow and arrow?
Yeah.
Yeah!
Yep.
What if I already have 1 piece of these that you can make into a bow and arrow?
That'll be good. It's a bit crooked. We'll get some better sticks, eh?
Yeah!
How's that sound?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Exciting?
Yep.
Yeah!
Alright, let's go.
Okay!
We're going off to show you fellas and fellasses how to make a bow using native New Zealand timbers. Alright, so what we're going to do today is me and the lads are going to go into the bush and we're going to find a piece of lancewood to make a bow, or a couple of bits of lancewood to make the boys some bows and to make me a bow. And we're also going to be doing a bit of a review on the Sword von Tempsky Bowie knife. This is named after the famous bush ranger von Tempsky, and it's big. It's got a 12-inch blade. It's good for all sorts of stuff like chopping tomatoes and chopping down trees, and I've carved the boys a couple of wooden pocket knives with them, usually about once a week. And it's also really good for rescuing damsels in distress. In fact, that's how I got my lovely wife. I rescued her from the clutches of the evil Bradley. Bradley, if you're watching this, thanks for letting me rescue her. I'm not sure if the better man won, but the guy with the biggest knife won, so there you go. Get one. Awesome knives. We're going to go put it to the test today. I mainly use it in the bush for chopping up kindling and cutting down saplings to make huts. Everyone likes making huts. Also awesome for throwing at pieces of wood. But right now we're going to go wander into yonder forest and find some lancewood. Oh, they're looking for pigs, I think. You coming, boys? Let's go. Now we need to find some lancewood. There seems to be every kind of tree in here. but lancewood. Forest like this that's really dense and tight is a really good place to get a bow because the trees tend to be very straight without too many notches or glitches in them. To make a 50 to 70 pound longbow, you need a piece of wood that's about 7 foot long. So we're going to get a couple of lengths of those. Going to get a couple of bits of those, and we'll also get some smaller bits for the kids. I found one good bit of lancewood here. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get a couple more too, just in case this one's not quite straight enough. Look at that, she just hoed through that tree. I'm a lumberjack. I used to be a lumberjack in Canada. Those were the days. Hard work. Alright, now we've got the wood for our bow. We've got to find some arrows. Tawa makes the best arrows, but we don't have any tawa in this part of the country, so instead of tawa, we're going to find some straight young remu saplings and use those. Remu is pretty good. It needs to be a fairly strong wood. If it's too soft like mahoe or wood like that, it can break and drive into your forearm when you shoot. So you have to be aware of this. If you've got a really high pound bow, you've got to use arrows that are quite strong and able to withstand the force of the bow. Or you can make a live poundage, because you're probably just going to be using it to shoot pigeons or other birds to survive. Not that I advocate shooting wood pigeons, but if you're lost and you need to eat, they are a source of food. So let's go find some arrows. These Bowie knives that Svord make are made from a really hard steel. They've got their tempering down packed. I haven't sharpened this knife in probably about a month, and it still will shave the hairs off my arm. Check this out. So it really is an amazing knife. It holds an edge for a long time, and I've chopped quite a few bits of kindling and whatnot with this knife, whittled a few wooden pocket knives, and it's still razor sharp. It's bloody amazing, really. Right, once you've trimmed your bow to length, you want it to be about 6 foot long, more or less. You need to find out where to take the cut from it. So balance it, find out where it naturally rests. So now that you've found that, that is going to be the back of my bow, and this is going to be the belly of my bow. So I'm just going to mark that. Right, so the back is the outside, the belly is the bit that faces towards you. Now, when we make the bow, you don't take any wood off the back, it all comes off the belly. And it's just a matter of carving the belly down. Of both ends. You want to go down to about halfway and then slowly take the ends off, and as you cut more and more into the wood, you can naturally tiller it. So I'm just going to get stuck into that now.
Writing off a different switchy.
So now that we've taken the belly out of both ends of the bow, we need to find out where the dead centre is. So we're going to mark that, and then we're just going to keep tillering it and taking more and more off the sides and off the ends until we find it's got a really good flex, and then we'll string her up, see how it works. Now when you get to this stage, you want to be really careful you don't take too much off the belly of the bow. So just slowly working down, making it narrower and thinner as you go. Keep flexing it and keep trying to find that perfect curve. So it's got an even flex from the middle of the bow to the tip of the bow. You don't really want it to flex more at the tip. You want a bit of an even flex all the way down. That way you're going to get the most power out of it, I reckon. What I'm doing now is I'm just cutting the notch for the string. You want to be really careful that you don't cut too much of a V, otherwise the bow could split lengthways. So make the end nice and flat. Alright, clove hitch on one end. It seems to be way too grunty. I can't even string it. So it's still got way too much power. I'm going to have to take quite a bit more off the belly of it so I can string it up. So I'll just keep chipping away at that.
Then this could just go straight to the deer there, not leaving any, and it wouldn't be in the deer.
Yeah, no, it's not really, it's just for targets, not for deer, that one.
Why does it say expedition hunter? Why does it say expedition hunter though?
Well, the arrow's for deer, but the point's not. The point's just for target. Now those ones with the big blades in it of mine, those ones are the ones I use for deer. Alright, so now it's strung out. The problem is we have a dynamic string, it's not a static string. So I had a bowstring made up for this job. If you can make one out of linen, that's the ideal thread. My wife couldn't find any linen thread for me in town, and I can't find my homemade longbow string, so I'm just going to put a shot through it like this. I'm going to have to wear gloves so it doesn't hurt my hand, but in the bush I guess you could wrap the arm of your sleeve around your hand. Actually, let's do that. We'll just use what we've got. I'm going to cheat though and use some of my arrows. I'm not going to make some yet. Try this out first. So there you have it. Cheers, mate. One self-made longbow. It's pretty grunty. I can't get it all the way back. It's probably pulling something like 70 pounds or 80 pounds or maybe even more. Probably close to 90 to 100. I'm pretty strong and I can't get the damn thing back. Ideally you want to make it about 7 or 8 foot long. This one's only probably about 6 foot long, maybe just under 6 foot. So if you make it 7 or 8 foot long, it's going to be a lot easier to pull back. And I suggest if you're going to make one of these, get a boyer, get a boyer, a Flemisher, how do you call the people who make bowstrings? A boyer. Get someone who makes bowstrings to make you a custom bowstring. I do have one somewhere, but bugger if I know where it is. I think the wife's tied it away somewhere, or the kids have used it to tie knots with out in the bush and they've lost it. But I will get another one made up and I will start using my homemade longbow and hopefully I will shoot a deer. So next up, I'm going to show you how to make some arrows. It's been raining for about 3 days now and it's finally cleared up. It's crisp, there's a very light breeze going, so it's really good conditions to shoot a deer. So I'm just going for a drive down the road, sneak up a little creek that I know, see if I can catch one out feeding the grass. The full moon was 2 days ago too, so the grass is growing pretty good around home at the moment. Conditions are perfect. A couple of reasonably fresh boot prints. It's never a good sign when you're walking into a hunting spot. Looks like they've been rained on, so we might be okay. Once upon a time, the west coast of New Zealand was where everyone came to shoot deer. All the 1080 they throw around out here, they're thinning out in a few spots around all of the dairy farms and a lot of the major valleys. They've dropped so much 1080, there's just no deer sign at all. I'll show you what I mean. Have a look at this grass. Now, there used to be patches of browsing and deer poo all over this clearing before they 1080'd, and now there's not one single track, not one drop of poos, no sign at all. It's just a dead forest out there. It's a good idea to take a slasher or not a slasher, a machete or a small handsaw in with you when you hunt your clearings or a place that you regularly visit. That way, if you don't shoot a deer on your way out, you can clear the track a bit, get rid of those annoying sticks and bits of fern and bits of gorse or whatever that make noise on your clothes when you walk in. You can also clear the ground of any sticks that might snap underfoot, and after a couple of trips of doing this, you'll find that you've got a really quiet approach into your clearings. Makes hunting a lot easier. There's another great tip for you. If you can visit your hunting spot on a day when it's raining really hard, go around the edge of the clearing and find out where the deer trails are coming on and off the clearing. This way you know exactly where the deer is going to appear out of the forest, and you can set up to ambush them no matter which way the wind's going from. Usually you can sneak into the clearing from a different direction and still get a deer as it comes off those trails. If you can find where the deer are coming onto that clearing, that main game trail, your chances of bagging a deer if you're a bow hunter also greatly improve, as you can get right behind a big tree, right close to that game trail, and ambush them as they come into feed. Another quite effective method is find out where they're using that game trail to come off their feeding areas and ambush them on their way back to their bedding spots. This does require a fairly good knowledge of the area and an ability to stumble around in the dark and make as little noise as possible. The old truck. It's a goodie. It's done me proud, this wagon. Get it? Huh? Ingredients: parsley, sage, chives, rosemary, thyme, bay leaves, whole grain mustard, garlic, chicken or beef stock, white wine vinegar and olive oil, and a bit of salt and pepper.
Here is the tongue. If you look really close, you can even see the taste buds. My sister's gonna find this so gross, so this is just for her right here. And now we're gonna put it in the pot. Put all these ingredients in the pot.
You eat it.
A little bit of salt, pepper, and just a splash of vinegar and some olive oil.
Yeah.
You're gonna eat that.
No, Jackie didn't.
Oh, and some whole grain mustard. That's really important. Just about a teaspoon. Got my helpers. They're so helpful. I'll put the tongue on top.
You help. I want something. What did you get?
Bright lights and good time and friends, and when the party's all over, she'll welcome him back home again. Though she don't understand